today's video, I want to share the 5 things that I wish I knew 10 years ago that would have saved me what I would say is a lost 10 years of pure and utter hormonal chaos. I want to share the 5 things now with you that I really wish I had learned when I was 35, because I definitely would have done things differently, and actually I would have moved with the hormonal changes that were going on in my body and done things that complemented that rather than all of the things that would work against those changes and make things even worse for me. And that's what I did. Every single thing I was doing, every bit of advice that I thought was good advice that I was following was actually working against me and my hormones and creating an absolute chaotic feeling from the minute I woke in the morning until I went to bed, and I was a nightmare to live with. And that's hard as well to admit, but I know that for the last 10 years or so, maybe the last year, I have really started to come out on the other side. But previous to that, I was a nightmare to live with. If you are listening to this and you feel in any way the same, that you probably can admit to, you know you've changed. You don't want to change, but you know you have. You don't know why, and you don't know what to do about it. So I promise with this channel to teach you everything that I'm learning, and this is still an ongoing change for me. I am still battling with all of these things, just on a much lesser scale. I am now working with all of the hormonal changes that I'm going through as a 45-year-old. So I'm going to start with these 5. And I hope that you will subscribe to this channel if you enjoyed this video, because I promise, I really do promise, that what I will share on here will be so valuable and a true and honest account from not a health and fitness person. I am literally someone who has lived through it all. I have first-hand experience. I have focused every ounce of my energy on finding the correct research and knowledge. And I've now come out the other side where I feel confident that I can share what I've learned that will absolutely help you. And if you are in your early 30s, I promise this will save you a whole lot of heartache, and it will make your transition through perimenopause and into menopause. I will be at the perimenopause stage at the moment. It'll make that whole transition so much easier for you, for your family, for your friends, mostly for you. That's what it's all about. This channel is for you. So let's dive into the 5 most important points that I think you need to know. So point number 1 that I wanted to share is female physiology. So it's really important to note that a woman's body will react and respond differently depending on the phase of your menstrual cycle and where you are in that cycle. So if you are looking at the start of your cycle, where you are post-period up until about ovulation time, your body is able to really look at and focus on high intensity workouts. So HIIT, faster levels of training. You've got that higher energy and you're going to feel like doing those workouts. And this is also something to really become aware of, is how you feel. So perhaps you're not having a menstrual cycle, and so you're not really sure where you are in that cycle. Then really try and listen to how your body's feeling, because your body will let you know everything that you need to know. So if you're feeling lethargic, or you don't have energy to do a workout, then you are possibly in that post ovulation phase, coming up towards your next period cycle. And so that level is where you need to pull back slightly, look at more low intensity style workouts, so focusing on strength and not doing HIIT workouts, which is, as I said, high intensity. So just knowing how you're feeling if you're not going through that menstrual cycle. Point number 2 is protein. Protein is absolutely crucial at this stage of our lives for muscle rejuvenation. As we approach our mid-30s and go into our early 40s, the loss of our muscle mass accelerates. And this is something that we really want to avoid. Muscle is so important and crucial for us going forward in so many ways. And so in order to combat that, we need to make sure that we are efficiently getting enough protein into our diet. You need to be getting a minimum of about 30 grams of protein with every meal. And so we're looking at things like lean meats like turkey, chicken, eggs, another incredible source of protein. And if you want to go down the protein powder way, you can look at whey protein, which is a good source of protein powder. Just be careful of the protein powders that you're using and make sure they're good quality. Point number 3 for me is 100% the most important point that I wish I knew long before now. Overtraining and underfueling. This, I can say hands down, was me for the last 9 years. That's me being completely honest. I was overdoing cardio completely. I was overtraining. I was training most days for 2 hours. Most of that was cardio. I certainly wasn't fueling before those workouts. And afterwards, I was doing what I thought was good, tracking what I was eating and making sure the calories were low so that I was burning more calories than I was eating. And all I was doing was completely putting my body into a state of chaos. My body was always in high levels of stress. Cortisol levels go up when your body's under high levels of stress like that. It doesn't have any fuel. It is thinking, okay, here she goes again. She's going to do some high hit workout or high intensity of cardio workout and we don't have any fuel. So let's send alarm bells ringing and the body just goes crazy. And this was a cycle that I was doing over and over and over. This completely lowers your metabolism. It messes with all of your system. There was a point where I completely lost my periods. What really hit me was when I started to lose my hair. And this is something that nobody actually knows apart from my close circle, my husband, my family. And I lost my hair quite badly. It really thinned out. I've always had a huge amount of hair. It was at this stage in my life that I decided that maybe I was going through perimenopause or even early menopause. I started to go down that route. I spent a huge amount of money with a very well-known menopause clinic. I was put on HRT. When that wasn't working, I should say also with the hair loss, I was experiencing extreme night sweats. This is why I wanted to make this video in particular, because I really do think if you're someone who overtrains and exercises a lot and you know you're not eating enough to fuel those workouts, then this is the place that you need to start first. I was highly strung all the time and it wasn't anything to do with me needing to be on HRT. It was the fact that I was causing so much stress on my body from overtraining and undereating. That's all it was. I came back off all the HRT, so I can tell you now that 100% wasn't my problem. It took my body a long time to realign itself after messing with your hormones like that when you don't need to. And as I said, the research that I've done up until this point has now got me to a place where I am training sufficiently and I am fueling my body sufficiently. And all of the things that I was suffering have started to disappear. My hair is back tenfold. I have a lot of it. Thank goodness, because that was one of the most stressful things I've ever been through in my life. I am definitely not as highly strung. I had a constant brain fog, 365 days a year, leading to my setup of my business, this Love and Cakes, which is my cake design business. I would never have done that had it not been for getting myself to a point where the brain fog was gone and I got myself back. Overtraining and undereating, if I'd known now that that was going to cause so much havoc, it certainly wouldn't have been a road I would have gone down. So point number 4 is a really important one for me, and this is looking at your fluctuations in hormones and then adjusting your nutrition to match that. This is something I had never looked at, I'd never considered. So during the luteal phase, so this is the phase post-ovulation and up until your next period, your core body temperature is going to increase. So your body's going to be a little bit more dehydrated. You're going to be hungrier. You'll know that feeling where you just feel like you're hungry all the time. That's not something you're imagining. That is your body telling you that it needs more fuel. It needs more carbohydrates. Carbohydrates was something that I tended to avoid. Carbohydrates were the enemy when you're trying to lose weight or get fit or get strong. So far from the truth. Your body needs carbohydrates. They are so important. You will need more calories, but you need to make sure that the carbs that you're adding into your diet, especially around exercise, are complex carbohydrates. So you don't want to be looking at things like white bread, which have high levels of sugar in them, because that's again going to increase cortisol levels and your glucose levels. You're going to have a spike, then you're going to have a dip, and your body's going to be under stress continuously, and that's not what you want. And you want to look at more complex carbs like a brown rice or a brown pasta. Just know that those periods of time post ovulation and coming up to your period, you will require those extra good calories. Also hydration. This is another thing for me that to this day, I'm floored over. So I would always drink a huge amount of water. I always have a bottle like this with me. What I didn't understand is that water alone is often not enough to hydrate your body. This, as I said, floored me because I never thought that I was dehydrated, and looking back now, I was always dehydrated despite drinking a lot of water. So this is where electrolytes come in, and adding an electrolyte into your water can be so beneficial, and it really will hydrate your body. So you need those salts, and salt is the important part here. So you can go down the route of electrolytes like Diorolite. Zero is another brand that you can use, the effervescence that you drop into your water. Or if you don't want to buy a shop bought electrolyte, you can literally drop some salt. So of course, a good quality salt like a Himalayan pink salt into your water and get your hydration that way. So it's really important. Yes, hydration, and just looking at the nutrition that's required around the different phases of your cycle is so important. It's something that I wish I understood all these years ago, so that I was supporting my body instead of working against it. So I've left point number 5 last because for me, this one has changed my life. And this is sleep and stress management. The two things that just, to me, they're not optional. They are the most important thing in a female's life. I don't say that lightly. Sleep is so important for keeping your body functioning correctly for you. Our hormones are fluctuating, they're up and down, and any sort of stress on your body, including a lack of sleep, just exacerbates all of these problems. And so getting a good night's sleep is really crucial. It's also crucial for everything like muscle repair. So if you're doing all of the 4 points that I've just mentioned and you're not sleeping, you really are doing yourself a disservice. So what I have changed in terms of getting better sleep is, one, I limit my caffeine. So I never have caffeine on an empty stomach to start off. So I will always have that post-workout shake. So my stomach is never empty, and I won't have a coffee until I'm having my breakfast, which will be a good, hour and a half into the day, because it'll be after my workout. I also don't have a coffee after noon. That to me is really important. Everybody's different in terms of how caffeine moves through their system. For me, a coffee anytime after noon, and I won't be able to sleep. I'll either take longer to fall asleep, or I won't be able to get to sleep at all, or I'll have a very undisturbed night's sleep if I have caffeine anytime after 12. So that's me personally. You'll know how you feel yourself or how caffeine reacts in your body, but certainly not in the afternoon. Late afternoon is just not advisable. But stress management, I think, is where my life has changed this year. I have decided to really put self-care to the forefront of my life, because that was something that I was really bad at. I have 3 children. I am now running my own cake design business, which again is a story in itself, because the last 10 years of me loving doing what I did, designing cakes and for parties and events, but it wasn't a business, it was a hobby, and people were telling me all the time, take it further, start a business. and I just wasn't in the headspace. I, as I mentioned, had brain fog 24/7. I was constantly agitated, stressed, felt like it was me against the world. I felt slightly anxious all the time, and this was all to do with all of the things I've just mentioned and me doing the opposite to all of the points I've just mentioned. So my body was completely under stress, and so you can't think clear. There was no way I was in a position to start a business, though that time of designing cakes and creating and hosting events at home was something I was so passionate about. It was the time that I actually did relax and forget about the stresses of life, so it was so beneficial. But actually turning that into a business has only been something that I could do when I started to prioritize self-care and myself. There are a number of ways that I do it. I invested in a sauna blanket. You will have seen that in my previous video. You have the means to invest in a sauna blanket. They are not an inexpensive item. I believe I paid about €650 for it, but I am 45 years of age. I am a mum of 3. I have my own business, and my social life is very few and far between these days. So an investment in something like that for myself was something that I felt was something that I deserved, and the benefits I get from it are second to none. So you'll have seen in my previous video, I do an hour in that sauna blanket straight after my workout. This is another reason why I get up so early in the morning, because I want to allow time for my workout, and I want to allow time for my hour for me while the kids are killing each other downstairs and getting themselves ready for school. I'm in that sauna blanket. I have my Apple AirPods in, and I am listening to, this is the time I also meditate. So another of my self-care and stress management routines is to meditate. So combining the two, a sauna blanket for an hour, which just detoxifies the body. It is absolutely incredible post-workout for muscle rejuvenation and to help with any of that muscle pain after you've done a heavy strength workout, but also just for total relaxation. The feel of the heat, the warmth, the comfort, and then to meditate at the same time, you're getting a double bonus. So I will leave some recommendations for meditations that I use at the moment, and that hour time has been crucial. Other things like shutting off my phone for a good hour prior to bed. This is so important. I was a constant chronic scroller. I would get into bed and the phone would come out and I would scroll, mindless scrolling. Whatever you're looking at night is going to be what controls your thinking and your mind and your subconscious all through the night. So this is literally the worst way to end your night and to start your sleep. What I do instead now is I take 5 minutes, just 5 minutes, when I get into bed first, after being off the phone for a while, and I get out a journal that I have beside my bed and I brain dump. And by brain dump, I mean write down whatever it is that's on your mind. Just get it out, get it onto the journal. It doesn't matter if you never look at it again. What you want to do is release anything that's caused you annoyance during the day or caused you tension or something that you're worried about, and just get it down on paper, close the journal and put it away. You may again want to do like a meditation. Another thing that I like to do here is maybe 5 or 10 minute sleep meditation. There are longer meditations that you can listen to while you're asleep that really do translate into your subconscious mind. That might be something you're interested in. And then I finish with a book. I will always, this is where I read a non-fiction book. So I do a lot of educational books and learning and all of the things I'm talking to you now. I will, look at podcasts and read books and do audiobooks, but at night I like to do a fiction. That for me works. And the last thing I do at night will always be to read a book, and that's a big habit. And I am literally reading and reading. Those little things have completely managed stress levels. I am completely a different person. Even being in front of this camera is something that I would never, ever have thought of doing. And I've just felt so compelled to share what I've been through and to share what I'm learning, because I really feel if there was one other person out there like me who struggled as much as I did, and even if you're younger, if you're the 35-year-old age mark and you feel like these things are creeping up on you, if I can catch you now before you make the mistakes that I made for the last 10 years, even one of you, then like this channel and the me sitting in front of the camera, being uncomfortable has been worth it, because life is here to be enjoyed. As women, we have so many things thrown at us, and we need to make it easier for ourselves to navigate through life easier. We need to be enjoying our workouts. Like, I didn't enjoy my workout, it was a chore. Now I love it. You need to do things that make you feel good. It should be a feeling of enjoyment. It should be you're doing it for you, to get strong, to get healthy, to get fit, and just to look after yourself, because yeah, as women, we have a lot to deal with. And I just don't think there are enough women my age on YouTube. And if there are, and you're out there, please do get in touch, because I just haven't found you. I feel like most people on YouTube are a lot younger than me. And so I just wanted to create this channel so that there is maybe an opportunity to create a community of people around the same age group, and we can chat openly about this. I'm going to continue to share what I'm learning, even if it's just for my children, that I have this channel to document. I have 2 daughters, and I, under no circumstances, I'm going to let them suffer the way I suffered for the last 10 years with my hormones. And I don't want them to have families who have to suffer because they are antichrists and a nightmare to live with. And I don't want any of your husbands or partners or friends or family to have to put up with you acting irrational when it's not your fault and you just don't understand why. So hopefully I can share that insight and let you know that there is certainly hope. There are so many things you can do, and we don't have to feel like that. Like, we really, really don't. So that's all I have for you today. I hope those 5 points were of interest. And as I said, I have so much more coming for you. I'm going to go into the nutrition behind supporting our hormones. And again, I've done all this through research. I will link everything down below in terms of who I have really, really been inspired by. One person stands out the most for me, and that's Dr Stacy Sims. I mentioned her again in my last video. She is a scientist, and she literally is responsible for explaining that women are not small men. But I will link everything down below, and I hope you enjoyed, and I will stop waffling now, and until the next one, bye.